The previous readings on the family as a social institution discussed the historical background to most if not all identified family types practiced within the Caribbean. The question is asked to suggest the importance of the family as a social institution. In an attempt to respond to this question, the following discussion was constructed. We have determined that a family refers to a group of people living together, usually related by blood. The family is indeed a social institution. It is the base in which persons within any society become the socialized about the accepted norms, values, mores and customs/culture. This paper is geared at exploring why the family is an important social institution. If we were to number social institution 100, the family would be number 1. The family is the first social institution in which anyone becomes a part of. The family consists of a caregiver and other family members. The family is considered a social institution because it equips each member with the required tools needed to function within society. The family has several societal functions. Some societal functions of the family are: 1. It socializes. Example, members of the family is socialized to accept their sexually differential roles. 2. Women are socialized to facilitate their nurturing roles in the family. The family provides emotional and physical support. 3. Each family member is socialized to accept a particular religious persuasion. 4. The passing down of cultural practices through socialization is another function of the family. 5. The family is the primary agent of reproduction. It adds to the total members of the society. The above listed 5 are just a few tenets or functions of the family. The underlined functions of the family is identified: reproduction, socialization, economic support, recreation, physical and psychological support. We have already discussed the origin of most family types in existence throughout the Caribbean. Favored family types are based primarily on tradition and cultural customs of a society. Before industrialization and the modernization, there were defined roles of each family member within the family. This tradition continues today in many families. However, the advancement of women within the working world have somewhat changed the sexual role of men being the primary breadwinner of the family. Traditionally, throughout the Caribbean, the advancement of the feminist ideology and the liberalization of duties performed in the workplace made it easier for women to advance within the working world. The role of men and women began to change from the late 1800s in the Caribbean. Although not fully liberalized, women began to take on additional roles which was aimed at making the family financially stable. The rapid migration of many males from the Caribbean during the dawn of the industrialization period to help in the building process of many European and North American roads, buildings and bridges added additional cause for women to try to seek means of financially maintaining the home until monies were earned by the male migrants and sent home to their families. Before this change in family function within the home, it was the female's, wife, duty to wash, cook, clean and take care of the home including kids. With absence of the male, husband, due to immigration, functions were added to the women's list of functions. After trying the idea of being the main breadwinner for a while, many women liked the idea. Although their male partner sent monies through the post, to take care of the family, many female, wives, still opted to work. The attitude of being independent spawned throughout many Caribbean societies. It was a good feeling. Many female who left to raise their child or children by themselves opted to stay single and care for their children by working. During the early days of modernization, it was very difficult for blacks, especially women, to find work. Work during these days was menial. They included babysitting, home duties, gardening, farming, waiter, to name a few. Only a few blacks were given the opportunity to attain a secondary and tertiary level education. After obtaining qualifications at this level, most employers refused to accept females within their establishment. Those who accepted them were based on nepotism and/or they saw an opportunity to exploit the black female worker. Regardless of the difficult struggles in which females apparently went through, their roles within the family began to change throughout the mid-1900s. Women were still having between 8 to 14 children. However, they engaged themselves in activities which aided the family structure. Ironically, some mothers ensured that their girls knew the skills necessary to manage the home. They ensured that their girls learned how to cook and clean. They also assisted their girls in the learning of one or more skills around the house, example, baking, sewing or art and craft. The boys were never usually taught any duties substantially around the house. They were allowed to play and sleep and do whatever their heart desired. The boys patterned the behavior of their adult male counterpart. This may include their father, uncle or grandfather. Males were told from a tender age that their responsibility was to ensure that the house has food, bills are paid and all the necessary expenses are taken care of. This tradition was passed down from generation to generation. Even today, many adult males are still of the view that they should not be burdened with homely duties. They are of the belief that these duties are feminine and should not be done by them. The family, as discussed before, defines the role of each family member. The society receives the product of the family, which is the individual. Within the family, views are shaped and traditions are entrenched. Idea of women being socialized to please men is a reality. Men are socialized to impress the women they desire through their skills, income, and personal achievements. The above stated philosophies have not changed entirely. It can be argued that the above philosophies been reshaped to mirror the evolving culture of women and men being equally competitive, having in most parts similar roles. The liberalization of women during the mid-1900s throughout the Caribbean saw changes in the family. Women began to take more assertive roles in key positions throughout society. Women viewed themselves beyond the realms of the role of caregivers and homemakers. Women began to assert themselves in many professional occupations. These include medicine, law, education, business and skill occupations, to name a few. With the change in the roles of women within the family, came the change in the size of the family. The number of children within the family began to increase. The educated women had fewer children. The socialization of the members of the family to fall into the predetermined role they should have decreased over time. It would be correct to suggest that there are no predetermined sexual role within the family. However, this conclusion is false. The sexual role each family member has still exists. The second underlying function referred to sexual responsibilities of male and females within the family. Women and men both have clearly defined roles within the home regardless of the evolving family values and customs. Women are naturally given their responsibility to care for their children. Some men do try to adopt this task, however it is believed women does a better job. To see a man washing and cooking and performing house chores while a woman is at home reading the newspaper is rare. Although times have changed, it is entrenched. Biologically, women are designed to carry their offsprings. This process ensures the nurturing of the child into healthy individuals. Females lactate after giving birth. This lactation allows the mother and child to share a bond. The mother is expected to wean the child. This weaning includes teaching of the child to accept and eat specially prepared food. It also may include the teaching of the child to be independent. The family's role is to teach each child, male or female, their expected role in society. It is the family's responsibility to educate the child about his or her sexuality. The child learns how to behave from the home. A home with little or no parental supervision results in the existence of several social issues. These may include promiscuity, drug abuse, abusiveness, suicide and sexual transmitted disease. The family, including both father and mother, should share the responsibility of socializing the child about his or her roles. In today's society, this role is usually performed by mostly the mother within the home. This is partly due to the absence of males from the home and/or the father's lack of sensitivity regarding these issues. It is the tradition of many Caribbean families to adopt a religious belief. The family is expected to share an underlying religious ideology. This does not suggest that every Caribbean family are highly religious. What this suggests is that the family tends to hold a view on religion. The belief in godless society is a viewpoint on religion. Usually the viewpoint of family is shared amongst most if not all its members. Throughout the Caribbean, the general view of religion by most family is Christianity. The value of Christianity is a legacy of our colonial masters spanning some 400 years ago. Our ancestors' religion of Christianity has found a place within our family and society throughout the years. The values, norms and mores of Christianity have been used as a cornerstone to shape the numerous constitutions which exist throughout the Caribbean. Thus religion has a role in the value system of many Caribbean families. Religion has played a significant role in family life in the Caribbean, by helping to shape the value system they inherited from their ancestors. Initially, religion was closely associated with education, thus, many of the schools have a religious affiliation. Most families from an African background identify with one of the Christian denominations. Although most families from an Indian background are Hindus or Muslims, there are increasing numbers who identify themselves as Christian. Religion continues to serve a vital function in preserving family stability and marriages. For many families, religion helps them to cope with difficult situations and crises, and provides hope in times of desperate economic need. As a whole, Caribbean people cherish their religion. More will be discussed within the paper entitled Social Institution, Religion. Families exist in some form in every society of the world, and every person is or was a member of some family. Various definitions of the family include special biological, psychological, and social linkages. Biologically, everyone has a father and mother. Psychologically, most people identify with someone they define as parent, grandparent, brother or sister, uncle, or cousin. Socially, most people are members of a group they perceive as family, one in which relationships operate in an atmosphere of acceptance, intimacy, support, and trust. To most sociologists and anthropologists, the term family refers to persons related by blood, marriage, or adoption and who share a common residence. The family primary function is socialization and thus plays an integral role in maintaining traditional customs. Socialization is perhaps the most basic and important function of the family because it teaches its members the rules and expectations for behavior within a given society. Although families perform many functions, nurturing socialization is universal. This involves the care, protection, and nurturing of infants. It is doubtful whether infants could survive, much less develop into mentally, physically, and socially healthy human beings outside the intimate network of the family. The family not only is more permanent than other social institutions but also usually provides the care and love best suited to teaching children the skills, values, and norms of the society and subculture. Regardless of the excellence of hospitals, child care centers, and nursery and elementary schools, they cannot perform the socialization and learning functions as satisfactorily as the well-adjusted family. Another important function of the family is sexual regulation. Sexual regulation, while not exclusive to the family system, is most directly linked to it. There is an almost universal taboo against incest, the definition of which varies across cultures. Marriage is almost universally approved as an outlet for sexual behavior. Societies regulate sexual activity in a number of different ways. The chief means is by what might be termed sexualization, that is, sexual socialization. Primarily through socialization, the family may teach children that chastity is best prior to marriage. It may teach them that certain persons and certain conditions are more appropriate for sexual intimacy than others. It may also place taboos on intercourse at certain times in the reproductive cycle, such as during menstruation or pregnancy, or following childbirth. The regulation of sexual behavior is concerned with more than sexual intercourse. It also covers such behaviors as hugging, kissing, and touching, as well as attitudes and values. These attitudes and values determine family reactions to such things as premarital and extramarital relationships. The practice of same-sex relationships, homosexuality, throughout the Caribbean has been viewed as a vice. Based on religious mores and values, this practice has been outlawed by many Caribbean countries' constitution. In many developed countries, the idea of alternative families, which include same-sex individuals, homosexual, is accepted. Like it or not, someday, it is believed that some countries in the Caribbean will eventually adopt this family type. This practice is, however, strongly objected by many religious organizations. In addition to sexual behavior and regulations throughout the Caribbean, reproduction is also considered important. Reproduction is a logical family function as the result of the family's responsibility in sexual regulation. The family is the most widely approved social context for having children. Children are often born outside this traditional context, but this practice is sometimes regarded as a social problem. A major principle of many societies, known as the principle of legitimacy, is that every child should have a legitimate father to act as protector, guardian, and representative in society. This rule seems to suggest that children born outside a conjugal family unit are stigmatized. They are considered illegitimate. Reproduction within a family and marital context legitimizes the child. Although it is true that children born outside the family can develop into functioning members of society, it is the family that fulfills the function of giving a legitimate legal status and social approval for parenthood and reproduction. Social placement is closely related to reproductive and socialization functions. This function involves determining what roles and statuses, or positions, the child will occupy in society. Some statuses are ascribed at birth, such as age, sex, and social class. Children generally assume the legal, religious, and political status of their family as well. Even statuses that are achieved such as marriage, occupation, and education are greatly influenced by one's membership in a particular family or kin network. Although it is often overlooked as a basic function of the family, a person's social placement, positions occupied, and life chances are greatly influenced by the individual's family and kin network. Family functions also extend into the basic economic, protective, educational, recreational, and religious functions. To a major extent, however, these have been assumed by such institutions and organizations, particularly in the United States, as industry, schools, police, churches, and sports leagues. In conclusion, the family serves an important role in our society. The family ensures the continuation of traditional norms, values and mores from one generation to the next. Throughout the years, the roles of each family member have changed. Females have catapulted into the working arena. Both mother and father now share common roles within the home. Women support the home financially while men play an important role in caring for the children. It is as a result of the functions of the family why the family is regarded as a social institution. The family determines the progress of a society.